I am always looking for ways to make gardening easier, so today we're going to build and test out the Vego Garden EZCube planter. This is the Vego Garden EZCube planter. It is a raised garden bed that is supposed to take the guesswork out of gardening. My understanding is that it has a reservoir for water. It includes a lot of tools to make gardening easier, to take the guesswork out of gardening. So let's build it and try it out. This was shipped direct to my door. As you can see, it's not too big of a package. It comes packaged very nicely. And of course, it includes the instructions. So far, I can tell you, I love the color. As you can see, this is one of my favorite colors. It comes in a kind of a minty green color. It looks like these are the sides. Here is the base, which, as you can see, it is very technically designed. This is the water reservoir. We got corner pieces. These are the base feet. We've got some more little tools. The base of the planter here. I'm going to take a look at the instructions to see exactly what we are working with. This is the outer shell, the inner shell. That may go there, we'll see. These are short legs. I was also sent long legs. Side panels. This is the water gauge. And in here are the accessories and the water level regulator. First telling me to do the water level regulator assembly. This is a mosquito net cover, very important. We get a lot of mosquitoes here. They love getting into that still standing water. So this attaches into the side of the basin here. So we have one on each side. The reason there's a water level regulator is the base of this garden bed does fill with water, and it's almost like a little bit of a hydroponic system. You do add soil, so it's not fully hydroponic, but it does have water in the base that will just help maintain the moisture level in your soil. All right. Okay, so a lot of the pieces are already on here. I just need to pop this on. Now it's gone all the way through. I can see it attached here, and then we tighten. Okay. So this just squeezes in here as much as you can push it in. This very simply tightens on. Great. And it looks like, if you see this gauge, it looks like you can adjust the water level here. I'm assuming, so 90, that's like almost full, to different levels. So the next step on the instructions is to add the legs, but I have these longer legs, so I'm gonna open these up. So there's the difference. Included with the original planter are the screws to attach the legs. They're just regular Phillips head type screws. A screwdriver is not included. That is something you will have to have in order to build this. So it looks like the first step was actually to put the legs on before the water regulator, but it should be fine as I can still put this upside down to put the legs on without harming the water regulator. So these just go here, and I just have a regular hand screwdriver. The instructions say you can use a power drill, but the holes are pre-drilled, so I don't think we need to do that. I mean, I guess a power drill would be faster. All right, that's it. Legs are on. If you have cats, they thoroughly enjoy the packaging to the Vego EZCube planter. The next step is to add the inner shell to the outer shell. Now let's check. It says note, the circled square notch should align with the side that has the logo. So that is this one. That needs to go. Here's the logo. Well, that's not right. Does that mean it goes on this side? So I'm assuming that means this is the notch. This goes on the logo side. That must be what that means. So the placement of the inner part, it has this hole, and this says Vego Garden. This should be on this side that has the logo. So it fits in this way. Nice and snug. Now the next step is to add the long panels. So these are the side panels. It's a rectangular, it's not exactly square. So these are the shorter sides. These are the longer sides. So it sounds like the longer sides, we've got some notches. They fit in here. So those notches just fit here, and then they slide over and they're in. So here we go. Here are the notches. So obviously this scallop side goes on the outside, and those just fit in here. And then slide over to lock, and they are in. So we do the same with these sides. Place them here, and then slide this here, and then slide. So we have all four sides now nicely on our planter. Next up, we have the four corner pieces. This is obviously the bottom, slides right into there, and they just fit together like a nice little, it's almost, I wouldn't say a dovetail, but pretty nice little lock in there. And that is nice and locked pretty strong there now. So the same goes for the other sides. You just slide right in. So our box is completely constructed. It's actually pretty heavy duty. As mentioned, here's the water gauge, the bottom inserted, and so far, so good. So the final step is to add the water gauge. That slots right down in here. And that should be it. And then this is where you fill water in, and this will tell you what your water level is at. So like I said, takes the guesswork out of watering your plants. So we have completely constructed our EZCube planter. And next step, the fun step, is planting it. So of course now is the fun part where we get to go plant shopping. It is spring, so luckily there are lots of veggie plants that are in 6-packs and lots of flowers ready to go. It is of course the most inexpensive thing to start from seed, but for the sake of this video, we will purchase a few different options. I also need to get some soil, so I'm going to choose the soil knowing that I am planning on planting veggies and flowers, and it will be a raised bed, so I want to make sure that it's something organic and has natural nutrients added in already. There are lots of options when it comes to purchasing soil, so my recommendation is to take a look at the packs and see what the different options are, because depending on the plants and depending on the climate, you will choose different types of soil. I always choose organic as well. So I've fully constructed the bed. I've moved it into the spot that I want to grow from. It's kind of a sunny spot. It's in the shade now. So on the how to use instructions, it tells us a lot about the water gauge and how the water gauge works. It looks like this is the kind of bed you could use this indoors or outdoors. I'm going to use it outdoors, but you know, that would be kind of interesting if you could use this as an indoor planter. So let's look into this water gauge and how it works. I'm actually going to turn this around so that the water gauge is visible. It's actually pretty easy when this is unfilled to move this. It's fairly lightweight. Obviously once the soil and water is in there, it's going to be a very different story. So that's why I want to make sure I have it placed exactly where I want it now before I fill it with water. But here's our water gauge. So this comes up and down, and there's a little indication on here. We have a max and we have a little refill, and there's different recommendations on whether you keep this outdoors and indoors. I think if you have it outdoors, you're going to want to have a little bit more water in here, because obviously there's going to be, at least here in California, we have like very low humidity, and obviously evaporation and heat and warmth will be a little bit higher. So if we take a close-up look at this, here is your little water gauge with a max and a refill. So obviously when this is full of water, it'll stay up, it'll float, and then as the water level goes down, this will also go down. So it'll be a really good visual indicator for those of you who are like me and need a very visual reminder about watering. And then obviously we add our water into here, and it goes into the base level that's full of water. And then this is also, you can attach a hose to this as well. So that is another option for your watering, that these mosquito traps come off, and there is a separate hose accessory. Obviously you pull that out, that you can attach this to your hose and have it always watered that way. So the instructions actually recommend that you plant it up first and then you fill it with water. So that is going to be our next step. I have my organic soil. This is 2 cubic feet. I believe I'm probably gonna need 2 of these, but let's see so far. We will just start emptying this out and see how it goes. Oh, we also have a cat who's gonna join us. This is not a glorified litter box, my friend. Here it comes. So that is 2 cubic feet, and that's filled it up pretty well. I do want a little bit more, so I'm actually going to guess that this takes 3 cubic feet of soil. So this is a nice Harvest Supreme organic soil. This one's it's actually kind of an amendment for garden beds, but it does have chicken manure. So it has nutrients which are great for vegetable gardening. I'm gonna add a potting soil. My plan is to add vegetables as well as flowers to this bed. So I want a nice mix. I want something that's gonna give a lot of nutrients and is pretty organic base. You can see a lot of mulch in there. So we want to do a little bit of a mixture of garden soil and potting soil. So next up I have a planting mix. Holds moisture, improves drainage, great for raised beds. I'm gonna guess we put in about 3 cubic feet of soil. Of course the soil is extra fluffy right now, and when it gets watered it will settle down a little bit. All right, as mentioned, I have a mix of flowers, veggies, lots of different color. I think will do really well in this spot. Right now I have a sweet pepper, we have sugar snap peas. Marigolds are always a great accompaniment when you're planting veggies. Not only do they attract pollinators, but they actually help prevent pests, and some lobelia for a little bit of contrasting color. I'm going to start with my pepper because that will grow a little bit taller. It's always important when you are purchasing veggies to make sure they look healthy. It's great to always check that there's branching, and even better if you can see that they're flowering or fruiting already. You don't really need to break up the root ball too much, maybe just a little bit. Put it right in the center at the back. Right here, like this. I am gonna put my hands up and say that I have struggled with doing veggie gardens in the past, and part of it is remembering to water, keeping an eye on it. But this actually is right outside our kitchen door, which will make it great for a kitchen garden. Next up we have sugar snap peas, which are one of my favorite summer snacks. I'm gonna let these kind of trail down because obviously peas do have a tendency to grow either tall onto a trellis or hang over, but I'm gonna let these ones hang over. We do 4 of these because I might save a spot for some strawberries. I'm gonna plant 3 of these marigolds. They are ready to get out of this 6-pack. Now our lobelias. I got a mix of different colors. Light purple is my daughter's favorite color, so we gotta include that for sure. Move that right there. So my plants are planted. You'll notice I am top watering, which is recommended for brand new plants when they first go in. And you'll notice that I have not yet filled the reservoir, and apparently I didn't fully read the instructions because I was supposed to test the reservoir to make sure there was no leaks and everything was fitting together before planting it up. I did not do that. We'll pretend I did that. There's also recommendations about what kind of potting soil to use. It recommends a potting soil, not a ground-based soil. It also recommends a soil that includes mulch and a soil that does not include peat because it finds that peat moss can sometimes retain too much moisture, which is not good for one of these kind of bottom watering type of units. So everything is in the instructions with its recommendations, so definitely read those before you use it. But let's go ahead and fill the reservoir and see how it goes. So there's 2 different ways to fill the reservoir. One is using this reservoir here, which has your water level indicator. And then I think I mentioned you can also fill the reservoir much more quickly using this kind of, there's a hose attachment that you can buy separately where you take this off and take this out and then buy the hose attachment. I'm not going to use that because I don't have it. We're going to use the reservoir filler here. All right, so I'm going to set my hose to center. just gonna start filling this up. And it may take a while for the water level indicator to go up because we have the whole base to fill. We're starting from nothing. So we're just gonna start filling. Jet might be a better option. There we go. All right, we have made it to max fill. Put this lid on. This is important, at least where we are anyways. We do get mosquitoes, so we don't want any mosquitoes getting into the water. Hopefully this will make it very easy to know when to water these plants. It will mean these plants get bottom watered. These plants have just been put in, so I will kind of top water for a while and then keep an eye on the water indicator. But after a while, once they get established, the bottom watering should be all that I need to do. It's important as well to check the planter for any leaks in the bottom reservoir. So everything from here down is the reservoir. This is the top bit full of soil, and then there's the little like spikes that go down. So in theory, this could be removed if for whatever reason the reservoir is leaking or if there's any leaks. And you can actually see the water that's in there. And this is how you can change the water level too.
3 weeks later.
So it has been a few weeks, almost a month of having the EZCube planter, and I just wanted to follow up. Everything is looking great. We've added a Brussels sprout. And one thing I've noticed is it's been particularly hot today. It's May and the weather went up to 80 degrees this weekend. And some of these sugar snap peas are looking really dry. And I think it's because while these new plants are coming in, the roots are not going all the way down to the reservoir yet. Our reservoir is still, it's not completely at max, but it really has not gone down. And my tip would be when plants are first coming in, those roots are not going down very deep. You still need to top water. And I kind of set it and forget it. But I think when you first put in plants, you do have to kind of make sure the soil is staying moist and as your new plants grow. And then as those roots go down, they're going to start becoming almost hydroponic and they are going to go into that water. But that is my tip for this planter in order to keep your new plants alive and looking happy. But I mean, how cute does she look? I love it. So that is the Vego Garden EZCube planter. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. I try and reply to every question that I get. I do also have a discount code in the description as well as any links to purchase. Don't forget you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, and of course, subscribe.